What's going on, everybody? It's Evan, aka the Super Hornet, the Super Hornet podcast. It's been a week since we last talked. Gonna get more consistent with this stuff, so start with there. Got a microphone, got new headphones. We're rocking and rolling a little bit. Figuring out the rest now, but I I recorded this on Tuesday last week. And now Tuesday today, the 28th of January, and Hornets have had 4 games since then. They are 1-3 this week, losing to the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers, and also the Lakers, but also beating the crap out of the Pelicans. So we're gonna go over that. We're gonna talk about a couple things, a couple storylines. I want to start positive first because there's a lot more negative than positive. Josh Okogie has played wonderfully for the Hornets. I mean, I just the intensity that he has on the court is incredible. He makes the right plays at the right time defensively. I feel like if he takes a shot, it's either I'm expecting it to go in, and if it's not going to go in, it's still a really good shot. I mean, I was at the Lakers game last night. Last night he was getting in some people's business. Uh, he basically, I feel like he picked up Dalton Connect at one point. Like didn't get the foul call, which is like so not Hornets to not get a foul call. You would think that you feel like half the time you're watching the Hornets and you know the I feel like every team is gonna say that their refs ref them a little worse. I just feel like the Hornets especially get like the dumb ticky tack fouls. He put both hands on Dalton Connect and yanked him, and there was no whistle. So Josh Kogi is maybe one of those guys who has respect to the refs. So that's good. That's nice to have. I'm not gonna complain about that. We talked about trade rumors with him last week about getting Isaac Okoro, and after the week he's had, I know he could be hot, and it's. I just like his intensity. He kind of reminds me of Grant Williams in the sense that he's going to be a good leader, especially with that second unit. If we get him off the bench with a Trey Man and a Grant Williams, the intensity coming off the bench could be really good for the team. It could be very exciting. He, I want to say he had like 19 points last night too. He went off for this is against the Lakers. He went off for 19 points. And he's had a couple good games. Uh, he's played great. Um, I mean, he was a big part of that dominant win against the Pelicans too. It felt like he was always making the right plays. And I'm very happy to have him on this team. And I would much rather at this point trade Cody Martin for for an Isaac Okoro. I don't think we can make that happen, but I don't really want to trade Josh Kogi. I like him. I think we could bring him back next year. Like his contract, we could either buy him out after this year, or you know he could stay on the team. It's a Hornets choice. It's not like a team option, but they could. His contract isn't guaranteed next year, so I wouldn't mind having him next year on this team. Yeah, but he had a good game, especially last night. But he's had a couple good games. We got some injuries to get negative. I mean, we lost one of the games to the Trailblazers. It was a close game because we didn't have Miles Bridges or Lamelo Ball. They just kind of rested that game, but Lamelo tweaked his ankle last night, stepping on Jared Vanderbilt's foot, backpedaling. Just a little quick little play. It's all it takes. He wears the braces, but you step on somebody's foot, it's bad news. Um, and they called it an ankle sprain yesterday, so we're gonna have to see the severity of that. I mean, the Hornet season's kind of over with. I'm not saying sit him for the rest of the year. I'm not taking it that far. Like, let's keep him playing, but I'm not in a rush to get him back at this point. We all kind of know where we're sitting on this stuff, and the Hornets haven't got the first overall pick since 1991. We got Larry Johnson in 2025. We've been in the running for some first overall picks, and we haven't got them. So wouldn't mind capturing the flag at this point. You got 12 wins, and it's the All Star break's coming up. You know, I don't know how this is going to affect Lamelo's All Star bid. I hope maybe with the injury, the coaches just give it to him. I mean, a lot of the coaches speak pretty highly of Lamelo, and they're the ones to make the decisions on this kind of stuff. But they usually speak highly of Lamelo. But maybe the coaches see he got injured, they just give him the vote, and he's going to be out for the All Star break, and then you get an injury replacement, and that's how we get everybody in the All Star game. It would have less snubs. I mean, I don't know if that's how they're going to do it, how it's going to work, but yeah, it's just a bummer. I hate seeing Lamelo go down and get hurt. I mean, especially with Brandon out. Um, I saw somebody tweet Isaiah Wong get ready to learn starting point guard minutes. So especially if Vasiljevic is going to get moved by the eighth. I don't think Lamelo will be back by the eighth. I mean, who knows? Too hard to know for sure, but yeah, no. It's just tough to see. It's really tough to see. But I just wanted to go over some of the stats for some of the games and talk about some of the storylines and um you know it's just go over the week. Let's talk about it. So I'm gonna start with positive again. We're gonna start with the win over the Pelicans. 31-point win, big win. Uh, team shot great. Lamelo had 25. Miles Bridges had 22. I feel like everybody shit a little bit. Josh Green had 13. Okogie had 7. Seth Curry had 16. He had a great game. Every single person who played at least got a bucket. It looks like even Isaiah Wong in 3 minutes got hit a three. So I mean, everybody was hitting their shots. Nick Smith Jr. probably his weakest game of the last week. I think I saw he was averaging like 14 or 15 points a game over the last week and some change over the last 5 or 6 games. But that was definitely his low point. He had 5. He's very hit or miss with his stuff, but yeah, no, we didn't get that wasn't Mark Williams was out that game. He was injury management with his foot injury. I think I think the tank is on. To be honest with you, the Hornets media earlier and earlier every year feels like we got to talk about the draft and the tank and where the pick's going to end up, and it's just because we haven't been good, and it's a bummer. But each year, the last couple of years, has been because of injuries. Lamelo was out last year. Lamelo was out the year before last. Brandon Miller's out this year with Trey Mann and Grant Williams, and they're out for the year. All of them, pretty much. I mean, we don't know about Trey Mann. We don't know about Lamelo this year yet, but I don't think they're rushing to get Trey Mann back at this point, which is a bummer because we love to see him play. There's a handful of positives to that with the picks, getting better picks. It's a contract year for Trey Mann. We all know he can ball. We all know Trey Mann is just a bucket. And we saw Mark Williams dealt with a similar back injury to what Trey Mann had going on. It took him, I think more it was his foot that bothered him, but from what the coaching staff was saying is Mark Williams was ready to go start the year before he got his foot injury. So we see how dominant he's been now. So it's not going to hold Trey Mann back next year. So the hope is, it's a contract year for Trey Mann this year. Maybe we get him for a little bit better deal next year. I imagine it'll probably be a shorter deal, maybe a 2 years, $12 million when he could have been asking for pushing maybe 20. I'm not a contract expert or a cap expert, so those numbers could be off, but definitely going to get him on a discounted deal. Hopefully it's a multi-year deal. I'd like to have him settled in for a little while. I talked about trading guys, trading Cody Martin, trading Josh Green, trading Vasiljevic. Trey Mann, I hope he stays on this roster. I hope he's a piece to this team. That's all you can ask for, But yeah, no, it's a bummer that we're getting, these injuries and we're having these issues, and it just sucks. You just hate to see this team not play well, and admittedly the roster construction wasn't the best this year, and we've talked about it before and again and again. The team wasn't necessarily trying to compete this year, trying to make the playoffs this year. They were just, finding what talent's worth. See what guys are worth keeping, see what guys are worth being traded. Miles Bridges is going to have a great end of the season probably because we're going to have no Lamelo for a while. Brandon Miller's out. Every scoring option other than him and Mark Williams are out. So we're going to see him. Maybe his averages go up to near 20 points per game. He's averaging 18 right now. I'll check that real fast while I check that. Just we're gonna have his averages go up, and that could up his trade value this offseason, or I don't know if he's gonna be traded before the deadline. I don't think so. Apparently, it's been lukewarm reception when they've been shopping him around. So it's really hard to know for sure. This season he is averaging 18.9 points per game. He'll put up 20 points per game the rest of the year, 25, points per game the rest of the year maybe, and get his average over 20 points per game, and we can hold his production over some team's head and either get assets or maybe try to splash and trade him and like a Nick Smith Jr. for like a Zion or Larry Markkinen, or it depends on where you end up in the draft. You might not want to trade for Zion if you're getting the first overall pick because you got Cooper Flag, and it's just hard to know. I'm gonna talk about the game last night a little bit because that game was just. I mean, I'm gonna say it like this: I'm a Hornets fan. I love the Hornets. I am the Super Hornet. I love the Hornets. I dress like an idiot at all the games that I can go to, and it's one of those things. My dad's from Akron. I'm a LeBron fan. LeBron got me into basketball. I love LeBron. So I'm always excited to get up and watch LeBron play. So definitely still wanted the Hornets to win, but we had a 42-point, 23 rebound game from Anthony Davis. I've never seen a performance quite like that in person. I have to check the game score on it. It's probably the highest game score I've ever seen in person. If you don't know what game score is, it's kind of like they take all the stats that people have and they kind of like average it out with like it's kind of like a fantasy score, but for an individual game, but it's its own thing. And I want to say like the best game score ever, I think, is MJ's 69-point game, but it's not. It's like top 5. But games like that, that Harden 50-point triple doubles up there, Luka's 70-point games up there, Anyways, so it's a way to grade the quality of games, and it's like fantasy points, like fantasy score, like you have turnovers, they're gonna hurt you, stuff like that. But he had a monster game, and LeBron had a good game too, 22, 8, and 7. Hornets side, I mean, Lamelo Ball only had 7 points as he went down in the second quarter. The team was down 23 in the first quarter, which sounds awful, but the team only lost by 5. Hornets really fought back even without Lamelo. Josh Green, 15 points. Josh Okogie, 19 points. I talked about that earlier. Vasilije Micic actually hit some shots late. I speak for a lot of Hornets fans when I say that when he gets the ball, I kind of cringe a little bit sometimes. He's a good, he can handle the ball well off the bench, but he just makes some errant passes. He makes some bad decisions, it feels like, and you just hope that he's not the one taking the shot. But he had some shots. He had some tough layups. Miles Bridges had some tough layups. I mean, some jelly, getting up and under, just made it look easy. And it was, I've seen him score more points than that. He had 41 against the Lakers last year, and I was there for that game. But that might be the most like difficult shot I've seen him make. Like he had a game. Mark Williams, he had 11 and 8. I want to say that AD kind of had him under wraps last night. He didn't look too good. Another bad Nick Smith Jr. game. He had 6 assists though, which is kind of nice. That's funny. He had 6 assists. Me and my buddy went to the game last night, and we joked about like parlays. We live in South Carolina, so when we get North Carolina, we like a little bet here, a little bet there. And Nick Smith Jr. his line for 6 assists was kind of high, like for value, and we talked about it. So I didn't realize he had 6 assists last night. So that's kind of funny looking at it. But Daquan Jeffries had a decent game. I feel like he got switched on to some of the bigs. Same with Josh Okogie. They both played some good defense on some bigs. Weren't moved easy. Taj Gibson got 4 minutes of game time. When there was, I think, there was a little bit of foul trouble with Mark there for a minute. But yeah, no, it was a good game for everybody. Seth didn't score. Seth Curry didn't score. It's a little bummer. Musa had a dunk. There's a lot of dunks this game. I feel like Miles Bridges had like 3 dunks. All of them were exciting. He got dunked on real bad by Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith, I didn't know he could get up like that anymore. He got up, and if maybe the nastiest dunk I've ever seen in person. That or the I was at the Jazz game last year when Brandon dunked on Walker Kessler, and that was pretty dirty too. But one of the nastiest I've ever seen in person. I mean, they killed. Austin Reeves had a good game yesterday. Max Christie had a good game yesterday. 17 and 10 points respectively for them. But yeah, no, it was the AD game yesterday. It's the AD game. But yeah, I'm just gonna go over one more game. The Portland game's kind of weird because we were missing most of our guys, so I feel like that's not super important to go over this little weekly recap. I mean, I'll just peek at the stats real fast to talk about it. Maybe just like at a glance. Anthony Simons had a good game. Denny Avdia had a good game. Shaden Sharp had a good game. Jeremy Grant had 22. As Anthony Simons had 27. I was kind of worried that Klingon was going to have a good game against us. He had 13 boards, but the Hornets passed on him. And, sometimes when you get passed on, you have a good game. He just played okay. So, yeah, the Hornets, it was a kind of a group effort there without having Lamelo or Miles Bridges there. Josh Green had 14. Mark Williams had 15. Nick Smith had 17. Vasa had 12. Okogie had 16. Diabate had 6. KJ Simpson had 7. I like watching KJ Simpson play. I think he's going to be one of those guys on this team for the future. It's like a third point guard. But yeah, no. Maybe Isaiah Wong too could be one of those guys. He had 4 points. Last game I want to talk about kind of a beatdown we had against the Grizzlies. We made it kind of close to the end, lost by 12, but game was never really close. Mark Williams, he put up a career high. He had 38 points. It's probably the best I've ever seen Mark Williams play. I mean, you gotta have positives out of every game. If you don't watch a team and have at least one positive about a team, even in a bad loss, then it's hard to watch. It's gotta be hard to watch basketball, So he had a game. Lamelo had 22, 8 and 6. Miles Bridges had 17. It was just middle of the pack games for everybody else. With Mark Williams got hot late, is what it was. So we were down by like almost 30, I think, during that game. Like it was a rough 20. It was 20 something points. So we were just fought back on the back of Mark Williams. Grizzlies side, they had 3 guys score 20 points. Jaren Jackson had 22. Desmond Bane had 24, and like Luke Kennard, yeah, he had a lot of threes. He had a good game. He had 23. But yeah, no, Jalen Wells has been so great. I know this is I advertise this as it's a Super Hornet podcast, but I talk about all of basketball. Jalen Wells has been such a good story this year. He's second round pick, kind of overlooked. Comes out and just, I don't know what is in the water in Memphis, but, Jalen Wells, is one of those guys. Scottie Pippen Jr., Gigi Jackson, Jay Huff. He had 13. I mean, these guys, they come out of nowhere, second round picks mostly, and they are, undrafted guys, and they just ball out, man. They ball out. It's so much fun to watch. Miyuki, he's fun to watch too. I mean, I feel like their G League team just has to be the best team in the league. I don't watch a lot of G League. I'm trying to get more into G League. But man, they're so much fun to watch. And they just have all these guys play just so well. I mean, I don't know. It's just the Hornets. I feel like have a good system with their G League team's always pretty solid. But I just wish we had what Memphis has when it comes to just getting these role players who just. I mean, Gigi Jackson just came back from injury too. It's cool to watch. It's cool to see. Good for Memphis, man. Memphis is one of those teams. John had 16 and 13. It was a good game for him. It's a well-rounded game. He's been hit or miss this year. I feel like last week I see his stats and they're just a little underwhelming. I saw somebody joke last night because Dylan Brooks hit 10 threes for the Rockets last night, and I think John Morant had 10 points or something like that. He had low teens at the most. And somebody called John Morant a Dylan Brooks merchant, which I thought was funny. But I'm usually not one to, say negative things or hate. I prefer some guys not being in the Hornets, but I don't hate anybody. I live by the I don't know if you guys know Kenny Beecham and the Numbers on the Board podcast and his podcast, his YouTube, but he has the brand. His brand is called Enjoy Basketball. Enjoy Basketball. There's so much hate, especially on Twitter, and so many guys. You see all these horrible negative things, and it's just such a bummer that you got to remember this is a beautiful sport. We love this sport. We need to support this sport, and that's why I try to give people their flowers. I'm gonna try to be more full NBA. I think from now on, with the Hornets season kind of getting cooked a little bit, I think I might be rebranding the podcast to the Hailstorm Sports Podcast, just so I can cover more NBA focused. I might do it 2 separate podcasts. I'm still figuring it out. This is gonna be a shorter episode. Just I'm not waiting a month between episodes, so we're gonna try to get it in like 20-30 minutes. So we're at 20 minutes right now. Closing thoughts. If I'm gonna do this weekly, on the spot, I'm coming up with this. I'm gonna give a Man of the Week award for the Hornets, and this week it's Josh Okogie. Josh Okogie, I think he's averaging like, I want to say 14.5 points a game this week, maybe more. I saw a stat about it earlier. I don't have the exact numbers right now, but I mean he's scored in the teens basically every game except for against Memphis, I think. Right here, I'll just double check. He had 6 against Memphis. I think he's had teens every other game, but just his defensive intensity is incredible. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. You can tell. I mean, he's 6'4" with a 7-foot wingspan. I mean, it's like he's got go-go gadget extendo arms. He's getting steals and getting everything, and he deserves like the Man of the Week for the Hornets. And that's all he can say. He's incredible. I'm gonna keep this episode short though. I hope y'all enjoyed. Working on some big stuff right now, personally. With some content stuff. So if things develop, I'll keep y'all in the loop. I hope you have a great day. Go Hornets. Go NBA. If you listen to this podcast, you're not a Hornets fan, I hope your team does well too, as long as you're not playing the Hornets. But I just hope you guys have a great one. And there's gonna be if you're on Spotify, listen on Spotify. There's the links to my link tree in my bio. Give this 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, in the description, there will be links to all my stuff on there. A link tree. Give it a like. Please comment, interact. It means a lot to me with interactions. I'm gonna be writing a lot more too. Check out my website, hailstormsports.org. .wordpress.com. That's gonna be in the WordPress. I mean, in the link tree. But yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys, if you're listening to this and you're here right now, I'm working to be better for you guys and for myself, and I really appreciate you guys. But you have a good one. I picked up the microphone halfway through talking about this, so don't know how the audio is going to work. New microphone, got the lights on it. It's kind of cool. Got it on Amazon for cheap. Just trying to be a little better with my stuff. And I hope you have a good one. Go Hornets. Like I said, y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.